In this video, I'd like to look at an app that has multiple Seekbars. So we will have the user controlling 3 Seekbars in this case, controlling the amount of red, green, and blue in an RGB color. The code for this app can be found at the URL seen. So first, let's look at the design. So here it is here. We have this big red square that you see is just a text view with a given height and width and color, obviously. And then it can be controlled by these Seekbars, controlling the red, the green, and the blue. So right now I have a lot of red, some green, and no blue. If I add more blue, it gets sort of purpley. Take away the red, it goes more towards the blue, etc. And I'm showing here I have text views displaying the amount of red, green, and blue. So here, over here in the design in the XML, we see the first text view at the top, which is the one that is originally red. So there's the Android background is hashtag FF0000, that's full red and no green and no blue, so that's where it starts. Then we have these Seekbar text view pairs following it. So, and I'm giving them, this will come to play in what I do over in code. I label the 3 of them SBs, the Seekbars, SB _0, _1, _2, and then the corresponding text views, TV _0. So I'm going to sort of work with that correspondence. Then the text view, the Seekbar and the text view are systematically named, so then I can loop over them, but also the Seekbar and the text view that are related also have a similarity in their name. And the normal stuff, the constraints. And I've set I haven't set the min because the min is 0, and that's the default. So I didn't have to set a min, but I did set a max of 255. The amount of colors is, it's an 8-bit thing, 8 bits for red. So there are 252 to the 8, 256 possibilities ranging from 0 to 255. So the minimum of 0 is implied, so I don't need to explicitly put it in there. The max is 255, and then the progress is the value it's at. So in this first Seekbar corresponded to the red, and I started that at 255. And there's a corresponding text view. Here is the SB _1 and TV _1. That is the amount of green. So the max was 255, but the progress was 0. So I started off at 0. And so the text correspondingly shows 0. And then the last Seekbar for the blue, SB _2 and TV _2 for the text view. The progress was 0 and the text was 0. So that is the design. Now let's look over at the code. So I start off with, I declare, initialize an array of integers at 255,000. And so that's, again, the RGB, the red, the green, and blue, and sort of corresponding to what I did in design, I started at 255,000. I'm pointing out I'm above the onCreate, and my array is declared initialized above onCreate, so I have access to it outside of onCreate, and I have this TV color, this top, the red text view. I have that declared above. Okay, so, but I cannot really initialize it, or I initialize it to null, because I can't. It's in onCreate where I get access to the layout. So I can't do my normal connecting the code to the layout unless I'm in onCreate, but I want access to this variable outside of onCreate. So I declare it up here it wants to be initialized, so I initialize it to null. I have to make it var because it's going to change. It's going to become something other than null. So it's starting at null, then going to become something other than null. So that means it's not, so that means it's changed. So not val, but var. Okay, and the color is certainly going to change. So that was certainly a var. Okay, in the onCreate, here is a loop over from the range 0 to 2. Those are my indices. So sort of hard-coded range here, 0 to 2. I am constructing the name of my Seekbar. I will, in design, they refer to it as an ID. Over in code, it's more referred to as a name because there's a sort of a long, whereas this is a string. There'll be a long, an integer, but a long, so more bits that will correspond to, that will identify the widget. And so it's confusing that in design it's called an ID, and then sort of over in code it's more referred to by a name. So, but I have the name, I constructed the name with SB underscore and then my number. And then I'm looking for that ID amongst the IDs within the package. And then I get the Seekbar. Once I get that ID, this is the long, then I use that to get the Seekbar from the interface and have a Seekbar, and I'm adding a listener to my Seekbar. And that this, instead of having the handler of the Seekbar change event right away, I'm going to define it later, and I'm calling it my listener, and that's the thing that's going to be outside of onCreate. We can see here already that onCreate has ended, and my listener is outside of that. And then the last thing I'm doing in onCreate is I'm establishing the connection to TV color. So TV color, the thing over in design, the item with with an ID or name, if you will, TV color is brought over as a text view. It's called TV color. Okay, now here is the listener that I'm defining outside of onCreate, and it's an on Seekbar change listener. There are the before, during, and after. So this is here's the before on start, and I'm not doing anything there. Here's the after, and I'm just texting or toasting, I should say, something out. Then I have the as I'm sliding, as I'm changing the progress. So I call that the dooring. Okay, this is the more complicated one, so let's have a look. So I want to now sort of reverse what I just did. I have in access to this, as an argument of this function, I have access to the Seekbar. So I have 3 Seekbars. This is telling me which one the user has moved to bring me to this handler. And then I can grab its ID. Again, that is some long. This is the behind the scenes ID. And then I can go to the resources and find the corresponding name. So I'm getting the name, which is what over in design we called it an ID, but it's really a name. And so now I know the name of the Seekbar that brought me here, which is going to be SB underscore 0 or SB underscore 1 or SB underscore 2, one of those 3. I'm going to, that 0, 1, 2 is useful to me because then I want the corresponding, then I know which element of the array to update and which text box or which text view to update. So I'm going to take this underscore and I'm going to use it to split up this name. And just, I've seen when grabbing resource names, and sometimes it's just that very little last name that you made. And sometimes there's like a long string, like with other package information or what have you in there. So I have this, so I'm splitting it based on this underscore, and then instead of assuming that there are just two parts and that the number is the thing with an index of 1, I'm going to say, then I know it may be something longer than this, but I know that this is the end of it. So I'm going to work with it being the last index. So there could be other things that can come before SB_0, but I want the last index thing. So this will be that number, and I can parse it as an integer. And then I'm using it as the index of the array my color, which was the 255,00 to start off with, and I'm changing it to I, which is the progress. So this is the progress of the Seekbar. So I know which Seekbar it is. I know what the progress of that Seekbar is, and I know whether the user actually moved the Seekbar or whether I'm being called by code. Okay, so I'm setting this, my array of 3 values for the color equal to, in the appropriate location, to the progress of that particular Seekbar. Here I am constructing the text view that I need. So I'm taking text view and that number, and then I'm getting the working from that, what's a name, finding the ID, and then using that ID to connect myself to that text view and changing the text of that text view to the progress. The progress is an integer, and so text wants a string, so the little quote will cast this as a string. There are other ways to do it, but that is sort of a cheap way that works. It works when it works. And here I am updating the color of the TV color. I'm setting the background color. And here I'm just going to use all 3 elements of my color array. And I'm using an alpha. I'm using, that's the sort of transparency or the opposite of the transparency. So it's not at all transparent. So that's the full 255 for the alpha parameter. I'm not doing anything when they start changing the Seekbar. When they stop tracking the Seekbar, that's when I'll give them a toast. Toasts, remember, take a certain amount of time. And so you don't want to put that in an on progress change because it's occurring too often as the user slides back and forth. But when they stop tracking, I'm going to, again, grab the information based on the ID of the Seekbar and just sort of toast up in a name which Seekbar I was changing, just to show that I can. But if I needed to do something, I have access to the Seekbar and everything about the Seekbar, its progress, its name, and so on. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you.